Hello guys, I hope you're all well and keeping safe at the moment. Hopefully some of you have had your jabs by now. I just want to do this video predominantly about the Jigfly. So realistically, I'm just going to answer a few questions that I get asked all the time in my videos revolving around Jigflies, but then also the main aim is what I wanted to do was to get you guys and girls into contact with more manufacturers or creators of the Jigfly. The reason being, you guys that watch my videos are predominantly fish Jigflies. There's no coming away from it. I absolutely love watching that Jigfly float through the water and then getting absolutely inhaled and obliterated by the pike. It's just phenomenal. But yeah, I wanted to get you guys into contact with more manufacturers. So with this supply and demand kind of business, as you guys know, there's two people I use most of the time. And these are the guys I'm pretty much putting their links up all the time for. And that's Martin Smith from MS Custom Flies and David Warren from F.4.P Flies for Preds. Now, ultimately, if I keep sending everybody to these two guys, they're going to get busy, but also they get busy off their other trade. They don't just produce pike flies. As most of you will know, it's coming to the end of the traditional pike season. I fish for them all year round, but only when it's safe to do so. So if it's too hot, I'm not going to fish for them. I'll do something else. But also, it's about to be spawning time. With this warmer weather, which is lovely by the way, with this warmer weather, pike are turning on to spawning now. So it'll be any time soon, if not now, in some venues. For the next few months, they will be spawning and they need to be given a wide berth. For those of you who don't, you need to slap up the head because it's just stupid. You're going to affect the fish from spawning. The potential is the female doesn't spawn. Those eggs stay inside the female. The worst case scenario, they then rot. She then becomes infected and dies. But also it means that the next generation of pike aren't produced. So you're kind of killing the system off. So don't do it. But yeah, the main guys that I use, they also produce trout flies, and it is about to be trout season. So don't be surprised when you're contacting these guys. They say, "I'm really sorry, I'm very busy," or "I haven't got time," or whatever. They're not being rude. That's the way the trade. It's their business at the end of the day. So I wanted to put more people together to be able to get hold of other creations. So I'm going to quickly just show you some of the creations I've got from these guys that I use, and a couple others as well. And then I'll answer a couple of questions. I think it's only fair to start off with where did it start for me in regards to Jigflies, and I have got a couple of my very first Jigflies. I didn't buy them, they were sent to me by Chris Wallace, who still produces Jigflies to this day and other stuff as well. And I'll put a link up for him in this video, but in the main video, I'll try and do a bit of a better coverage for everybody. But these are they, or them. Compared to some of the Jigflies I use now, they are very small in regards to the profile. So when these get wet, they go really, really thin. And the weight on the front is like a small dumbbell, very, very light. You'd want a light setup for this, so like a heavy chub setup for lure fishing, or a heavy perch setup. Those have caught me loads. In fact, the very first session I went out on with these, or with the ones like them from the same batch that Chris gave me, get his name right in a minute, I was catching from the off, and the biggest I've had on, it was about that size fly actually, was, I can't remember if it's just over 9.5 or 10 pounds. So, and then not long after, I went fishing with Drew and Dom. So everyone knows Dom from Dom Fishing UK, with Drew, an all-round angler who's on Instagram. I'll put his page link up for you as well, so you can check out some of the just amazing fish that he catches as well. And yeah, Drew landed a whopping great fat ass pike. And from that day, and from using Chris's, I was hooked, and I've never looked back. So Chris and Drew, it's your fault, guys. It's your fault for my addiction of the fly, or the Jigfly. But yeah, and from there, I sort of started tatting around all different bits and bobs. Then got into contact with David from Flies for Preds, and then Martin from MS Custom Flies. And that's where it started to explode a bit, really. So in regards to David, I've got to laugh. for Christmas he sent me one over as a Merry Christmas, and it's just awesome. It's going to catch because of the flashes on it, but I've not been able to fish it yet. It's more of a canal. I think it's a 6 or 8 gram, I'm not sure, weight on single hook, size 6.0. But all the ones I've had from David in the past, so got a rear stinger, just like a Reaper style, single in the front. Again, that's a canal weight size one for me. He's got the darker colours, same Reaper style, for clear waters. Another one for clear water. And then coming on to my favourite patterns from David, really, is like the I wouldn't say smaller because they're not small, about 6 or 7 inch. These are 6 inch, I think this one is. But the blue that's in there, that can be make or break sometimes. Blue is a funny colour. Some days you can't just go wrong with blue. That's got a slightly heavier head. I was using that for a faster paced bit of river. And this from David is one of my favourite patterns of all time, and that was a rainbow trout pattern, Jigfly. I'm going to use this on the canals, and I've used it on rivers, and it's caught in all situations. I don't know why, that colour seems to do really, really well in that size. So that was David. With Martin, I must confess, I've probably got more of Martin's Jigflies than everybody else's. I do love a redhead. That's get the right way around so I hook myself. That's got a rear stinger in. That's not got a rattling actually. Yeah, so that's one of the new ones I've had off him. Fantastic eye, the devil eye. There is a rattle. I do love Jigflies that rattle. I just think it's that added attraction. It kind of forces the pike into just nailing them. Again, some natural coloured. So these are like a bream. What am I going to say? Bream or Rudd kind of colours. Another lighter weight one from Martin for the canals. Another one that's quite very recent. And now this jig head is massive. I think that was a 20 gram jig head. Absolutely ridiculous, you'll probably say. However, I want to try and fish this into some really deep waters. Wicked tail on the back end of it. It comes with 2 spare ones, or that one plus one other, should I say, a different colour. Rear stinger, and got a rattling again, so awesome. Also, you may have seen in one of my recent videos, actually wasn't too recent now, but one of my videos of the River Severn, I was out, it was a graft of a day, but I came across, it was either going to be a big perch or some little jack or little chub smashing up the fry. So I quickly swapped over, this is another one of Martin's, swapped over to that. So it is, once again, it is a Jigfly, but it's made for trout and perch. So that's what I caught on, but there's other colours that it does as well, so bear with me. So some of these are very, very close to just an actual fly. But yeah, and on that one, swapped over, matched the hatch as I say, and I pulled it out. I think it's £2 on the nose, £2 perch. So that's that really. So those are the main 2 guys that I use, David and Martin. Local to me, we've got Ben from the Fly Guy. He's new to the business, especially in this area, and God bless him, he made one for me, which he gave to me. He tried to imitate the Black Country flag colours. On the day that got loads of attention, but it was one of those days where the pike, to be fair, it doesn't matter what lure I put on, followed the lure in, and at the last minute just turned around and didn't want to know. So I've yet to catch on that one, but it gets the attention, that's all you need, so you know it's going to catch. Also, which I've not even got out of the package yet, his missus even drove this over to me after I bought this one from him. Again, colours I like. So red, flash, white, you know, it's going to catch, but I've yet to get that out. There is Tom from 7 Adventures Fly. He sent this one over to me to try. Again, the tail like what is on, they're all up there, like on Martin's, very similar. Dragon tail, I think they call it. That's also got a rear stinger in the back. That's quite a small rear stinger in that one. and then I think it's a size 6.0 in the front. Lightweight, and I've got to be fair to Tom. I'm sure it was on his own Jigfly out the canal. I'm sure he had a £20 pike on something similar to this. So the proof is in the pudding, as I say, on his own stuff. Locally also, there is, I can't remember the guy's first name. He's got an Instagram page called Peaky Pikers. He started producing as well, and people are catching on his jig flies as well. So I'll put the link to these guys in on this video, but then trying to better spread on the proper video for all the contacts. There's what else we've got? There's also other people. Oh yeah, there's also Jordan Westlake brought this. Now this is a fly, not a jig fly, but I saw the colours and I had to have it. Absolutely awesome. Again, rear stinger. Now this is predominantly a fly, so I have put on a cheb weight. Now, one thing that I say, or would recommend anyway, do not use standard cheb weights that you would for perch. Pike, in my eyes, a pike will rip those apart if you get a decent fish. These are the V point or the Dragon cheb weights. They're much stronger and they're going to last. But anyway, back to 33 Flies. If you check his page out, he's got some awesome productions as well, both fly and jig fly. There's this guy, I've got to be fair, he doesn't produce to sell as such. It's only when he's got some extra, he's over tide, he'll then sell. And that's Ryan Lambert. Now, Ryan Lambert, God bless his soul, saved me on my holiday the one year. I'd got there, got all the pike and stuff, and the one bag with the losing I thought I hadn't. I'd picked up the wrong blooming bag, so what I ended up doing is contacting Ryan, and so kindly tied me some and sent them to me in Wales on my holiday and saved that fishing trip. Now, to be fair, I've lost a few of Ryan's over the years now, because they are good flies, but these are some of the ones I've still got of his. Huge, big, bushy ones. Don't forget, I mean, when these get wet, the profile in the water changes massively, so that will stream right the way down. But when you've got that much flash, you get a fantastic waft in the water, and as I call it, the waftability. These have got awesome waftability, and it's killer. And the same with that's why I like anybody's larger jig flies, but with loads of waft. Gaz Jones also produces. He runs Predator Punk, so I'll try and put a link up for him. And Ryan. So and then you've got some guys that they make for themselves and they don't produce to sell at all. So you've got the likes of looks like Ian Clark. I've been very lucky. Ian, every so often he has a lot he wants to get rid of because he's tied too many, and I've bought a few off him. And where is it? So not recently, a few months back down, I had that one from Ian Clark. Very, very similar to Martin's. So probably the same material the guys are using, to be fair. But that caught me, I think it's £14 something pike. The pike nailed this on the drop twice in gin clear water over Himley Hall. Again, there's a rattle in there, but the pike wouldn't have heard that on the drop, to be fair, because it was on its way down. Nailed it. And other ones from Ian, I'm gonna separate them. It's got a gold and silver grey roach flash. Traditional, what I'd just say is a traditional roach flash, which is probably one of my favourite patterns, to be fair, or a go-to pattern. So yeah, Ian creates them, not to sell on mass production, just if you're really lucky, he'll chuck some on Facebook or get rid of a few he's got extra. And then yeah, then you've got people like Andrew Deirdre. He's the dad to Drew. So Drew is an all-around angler on Instagram. His dad is an all-around fisherman on Instagram. I put a link to his Instagram page. You should really go and check out some of his art pieces, really. He's been doing it for himself and for his sons. And if you're thinking of starting it yourself, take a look at what he produces. Just some awesome pieces of work. So yeah, that's it for me really, guys, I suppose. I was going to say as well some questions. So the questions I have to often get asked is in regards to what do I fish, what's my favourite patterns, and why. So I'll quickly just cover that off as well. If I fish in the canal, I tend to use a weight of 5 to 8 gram, because that's heavy enough to cover any canal really, unless you're fishing like a Grand Union and it's really wide and really deep. Don't forget, when you're fishing any jig fly, when they get wet, they get heavier, they cast like a bullet, unless you've got stupidly heavy line on for something so light as these. I currently fish 50-pound Power Pro braid. That's probably a little bit too heavy in some regards to the really small, definitely for the small ones. For the bigger, heavier, up to 13-inch ones, that's fine. But if you're fishing sort of that size, really 30, 20 pound braid, matching trace, and like I said earlier, like a chub or perch outfit that's moderately heavy for them will be spot on for these. So yeah, and in regards to favourite, I hope the battery's running out. In regards to favourite colours, like I said, rainbow trout. I haven't really got many small ones on me at the moment. Roach flash tail, favourite colours. In regards to going on to rivers, then I'm going to step it up in a couple of ways. So standard river, I'll be looking at 8 to 10 grams. Because it's a river, it's flowing water, I need to get down a little bit quicker, and then quite often most places are a lot wider. And then size 6.0, which I'd use on the canal as well, or an 8.0. Ideally, if it's going to be deeper water or faster water, then personally I'll fish 10 to 14 gram, just to get down so the pike can see the lure. It's not just whizzing past the head and they don't know what it is. Gives you a bit more control, because don't forget, again, when it gets wet, it's going to give that added bit of control over the jig fly. So yeah, that's it really. That's me, quickly done. I say quickly done, it isn't, it's 17 minutes, but I just wanted to put it out there. Like I say, I'll say it again. Any details of either your own jig fly or fly production, send them over to me on the email I'll put at the end, or anybody that you know, put the details into that as well, and I'll try and make a follow-up video to this, and it'll just literally be a little link video for anybody else that wants to try and get hold of jig flies, and it'll be there for everyone's reference at any given time then. Do what you want with it. You can either use the links off there, keep watching the video in that respect, or just copy and paste the links out of there. You've got it for future reference. That is it. All I can say now is thank you very much for tuning in. I hope I haven't bored you too much, and I'll catch you in a bit, guys.